I've always felt kind of a little bit in between these two countries, and I wanted to, with this film, to explore that and explore, their history, their opposites, their opposites in culture and in language and temperament and weather, and yeah, that was definitely something I was interested in. Yeah.
For me, watching the movie, I love the fact that the screen was 1:13 or something, like it felt like we were the photographer in a way. Can you comment on that? Why did you do that? It was like being looking at reality through a window in a way.
Yeah, it kind of, I mean, after we did our second film, which was called The White Day, I knew that I didn't want to work with the wide format, the Super 35 format. It just didn't suit me, or I didn't find it as fun to frame. So I knew that I wanted to explore a new format, and we tested the old Academy format, which is the one you see, which is called, I think, the 133, and it was a beautiful format, and it allowed me to sort of fill the frame with the face, and make portraits in a way that Lucas's camera makes portraits. But it was also, what I found was interesting was that the landscapes actually also worked really well, because it's quite a big format. It's like a 4x format, so there's a lot of, the image is quite big, so the landscapes they have a certain size, and I think the landscapes and the close-ups worked very well for the story we wanted to tell. Yeah,
I felt that there was a parallel narrative between the drama that is going on and the landscape. The landscape, in a way, is another character, is a tribute to the beauty of nature, in a way, right? Could you comment on that?
Yeah, but I think it's a way that kind of probably, I think I grew up reading. I mean, when I was forced to read. I mean, I didn't really like reading when I was young, but when I was forced to read, like in school, books were very often sort of exploring a character, by explaining the world around him, so sort of the seasons, the weather, the landscape, kind of expressed what the interior of the main character was feeling, or so I think I've always responded to that, and always kind of worked with that. I find myself very drawn to the locations, or the spaces, the spaces you decide to tell the story, because it has such a huge effect on the film, and on the body of the film. It's like the film, I often feel like a film often has like a body, so it's very important for us that the locations and the spaces, and it's the right places, and also the right seasons,
I felt that it was also an exploration of the human conflict, using Lucas and the guide that brings him to Iceland. Could you tell us a little about the conflict within the movie?
Yeah, I think very early on I knew that I wanted sort of to use these opposites and sort of put them together against each other, and try to create like very natural drama out of opposites. So instead of writing, instead of being interested in plots or storylines like that, I was more interested in just basic opposites, like for example, putting the Danish flag against the Icelandic flag, or putting this kind of man of nature, a guide, a rough guy up against a kind of a modern priest, or things like this. I think the film does that a lot and kind of plays with that. And I think that kind of created this kind of natural drama that I really liked, because I didn't have to force any drama. It was there already. So.
And listen, women in the film, they bring a lot of warmth, and men are more like there's a lot of animosity. Could you comment on what do you think women in this film represent?
Yeah, I think I can feel it when I watched Godland. I felt that when you see the women, sort of almost like halfway through the film, it's kind of almost like you can breathe again, or there's like a warmth, but also you do like there's something like which was interesting for me, and I really liked the feeling of holding it. There's something about like keeping something away from one, because there's almost like a desire to have it if you don't have it. And I think we wanted to create that with kind of like the female characters that sort of arrive in the film later and kind of change everything. So yeah, definitely a warmth and a desire, I think. Yeah.
Was it complicated to bring nature so close to us? I mean, in terms of a strategy and the camera work and the DP, I'm sure it was very like the river shots or when they're fighting, it was very, very on your face in a way.
No, I'm glad you say that, because I mean, we really tried to have time to do the things we wanted. And we really tried to be very flexible and simple with our setup, so we could capture the things that we wanted. And me and Maria, my cinematographer, tried to simplify, the scenes, and so we would have time, as much time as possible to work on them. So I think we were very respectful to the locations and the weather, and sort of, we often said we were slaves of the weather. We were kind of like the weather was kind of we basically looked at the weather each morning and said, okay, let's do this, because the weather's like this. It had a huge impact, I think, on the whole kind of planning and setup of the whole film.
In a way, the crew was going through the same problems as the fictional characters, trying to face nature and adversity, right? So it was.
Yeah, and I think that's actually, and I think it's something we found out by doing the two films we did before, A White Day and Winter Brothers. We really felt that the sort of atmosphere on set, and the temperament and our friendship and everything we're going through, the physicality of making a film, and all of the problems and conflicts, they kind of color the film. So I think we've always felt that. So we tried to create a very how can I say it, a comfortable plan, but also a set that where everybody's comfortable and not afraid of doing stupid things or trying things out, or like things like that. I think that's very important. Yeah.
And my last question, since we don't use narration, could you tell us in few words what is Godland about?
Well, I think Godland started out being very much about opposites. I think it started out being very much about the opposites of, cold and warmth, or Danish and Icelandic, and human and animal, and I think but for me personally, it's about so many things, and I think that's what happened when you work on a project for a long time. It's like almost you disappear in it. It's kind of like, and I think that's what we try to do every time we make something. We try to just lose ourselves in the film, and so that the film just takes over. So the film for me is about many things. It's also about what, the things that, what are the things that connect us, or what are the things that what are the things that we have in common, as human beings, things like this. Yeah.